Hello friends, Public Enemy Worm here today to talk about a change that Bungie made that I don't think it's going to be as big of a deal as a lot of you think it is, right? Of course, Bungie surprised us with an update today. They made a bunch of changes to some stuff. Really, I'm not going to go over it. You can watch somebody else's video if you want to go over it. But there were two really significant changes to some aspects of the game that I did feel like we need to talk about, and so we're going to talk about specifically the change to Peacekeepers today. Of course, they also changed Thorn. They just basically reduced some of the stats that you get from the Catalyst. Really not any crazy changes. Thorn is still going to be a very good weapon, but Peacekeepers got a nerf, and I wanted to talk about it because, again, like, I've seen other YouTubers talking about it and they say, oh, Peacekeepers are dead and, you know, they're terrible now, like, just go back to using Dune Marches and all this stuff. And I think that everybody who says that is wrong. Okay, Astacross, I think, is wrong because he's one of the people that I watched say that. I can recall that off the top of my head. But yeah, let me pull it up on screen here so we can actually look at the changes that were made. Actually, let me zoom in here for us too. Okay. Right here, gameplay investment, Peacekeepers. They reduced the handling, mobility, and ADS movement speed buffs by 50%. Now, yes, I know that sounds like a lot. That sounds like it was an absolute, like, just a monumental nerf to Peacekeepers. Like, when I first read this, I was like, ooh, that sounds painful. But then I started doing some thinking. Like, I love using Peacekeepers when I'm on Titan. That is my main PvP exotic on Titan. You know, and I started thinking about it, and I started thinking, hey, like, is this actually a big nerf? And so I went in, I looked at some stats on SMGs, and the answer, I'm gonna be honest with you guys, I don't think it is, okay? So, first of all, ask yourself this question. If you use Peacekeepers, why do you use Peacekeepers? Like, what is the main attraction to using Peacekeepers? Now, they have a bunch of different functionalities, right? They got the ability to auto-load SMGs, you get huge bumps to handling, you get bumps to movement speed, you get bumps to, mobility, you get bumps to a bunch of stuff. But what is the main reason that you use Peacekeepers? And if you're anything like me, the answer to that question is you use them for the handling boost that it gets, because it gives you basically, or I'm sorry, it formerly gave you 100 handling to your SMGs. No matter what SMG, it gave you plus 100. Now, of course, handling is capped at 100, so that was kind of overkill on literally every SMG in the game, because I don't think there's a single SMG with 0 handling stat, right? But it gave you plus 100 handling. In fact, let me pull it up over here on screen again. Let me zoom in, sorry. That way we can see mecha holster, right here, airborne effectiveness plus 40, plus 100 handling, and then some other stuff. We'll talk about the other stuff in a second. But with that being said, handling is the reason I use it. I like to be able to pull out SMGs very fast. I like to run double SMGs, double dynamic sway harmony SMGs. That's a blast. By the way, you should really try it if you haven't. But using double harmony SMGs, like, the reason I use it is for the handling. Like, don't get me wrong, the mobility boost is nice. The sprint speed boost that you get, because you do get a, well, I'm sorry, you don't get a sprint speed boost. Technically, you get an FOV change, which, again, the FOV change has not affected anything. I haven't done any testing, to be completely fair, but the FOV change is, from what I'm understanding, still there. Correct me if I'm wrong. But the handling is the main thing, right? So I can put on a weapon like, Taraba and give it 100 handling. You know, I can put on any 750 SMG and give it just maxed out handling. And I think that's what the majority of people use it for, right? Is because it gives you that substantial handling buff. Well, they're cutting it down by 50%, which, again, that sounds like a lot, but the initial handling stat that Peacekeepers give you, or I'm sorry, the former handling stat that Peacekeepers used to give you was 100, right? So whatever SMG you had on had 100 handling. Now they've reduced it to, it grants 50 handling. Again, sounds terrible. Guys, I pulled up some of the most popular SMGs that I see in the Crucible, right? And I want us to take a look at the handling stat on these, okay? I'm gonna use Taraba as a baseline here because it's 50. Taraba gonna have 100 handling just like it did before. Funnel Web still have 100 handling. Multi-Mock will still have 100 handling. Submission will still have 100 handling. Immortal will still have 100 handling. Like, the only weapons that I can see that are actually getting hurt by this change is 600 round per minute SMG. Shire's Wrath, Unending Tempest, two of the really popular ones right now. Yeah, they are going to feel this change a little bit. Like your handling is gonna be a little bit slower, but still, I mean, what is it? 50 minus 23, that's, what is that? I'm sorry, 27, 87 handling on a 600 round SMG. That's fantastic. Like you're losing 13 handling. That's not much of a loss. Yes, it'll be noticeable, but is it going to be noticeable to the point that you feel like there's no point in using Peacekeepers? Absolutely not. So, you know, same thing, Unending Tempest over here. Like, this is what I'm talking about. Like, you know, players are out here, they're saying, oh, like it's been absolutely obliterated and destroyed, but it's lightweight SMGs, lightweights, untouched. They're still, like, lightweights have such high handling, they're still going to have high handling. 720s, I think I called them 750s earlier. 720 SMGs, things like Immortal, things like Taraba, things like No Survivors, they're still going to have 100 handling because their handling stat is kind of midline there. And if it's not 100 handling, I mean, one magazine mod or one barrel mod, and you can probably get it to 100 handling. You know, get that almost instant ADS time, ADS speed time. Not only that, but right here, there's a 0.6 second ready and stow duration multiplier, 2 submachine guns, which is absolutely fast. I think that also applies to the ADS speed as well, but I could be wrong on that. The point is, your handling for SMGs is still going to be bonkers out the roof. Like, them cutting it down by 50% didn't affect 90% of the SMGs that players are using. And the ones that it did affect, things like Unending Tempest or Shayura's Wrath, they're not getting affected all that much by the handling buff. Now, of course, there are some other changes they made. Of course, they reduced the mobility. Now, the mobility that it gave you, it used to give you, where was it at? It granted 50 mobility. Now it's just going to give you 25 mobility. Mobility is not sprint speed, mind you. Mobility is not sprint speed. Mobility is, you know, the ability to strafe, right? It's your strafe speed, it's your jump height, stuff like that. And again, like, I don't know anybody who really cares about mobility inside the Crucible outside of Hunters because it's tied to their class stat, right? So again, I don't think the 25 mobility hits that Peacekeepers got is really worth taking them off for. Like, it just doesn't make sense, right? And then the last thing that they changed here, they changed the ADS movement speed by 50%. So of course the ADS movement speed used to be 9%. So when you ADS with the SMG, it's a flat 25% movement reduction. This would reduce it down to only a 9% reduction. So it sounds to me like it's going to kind of be met somewhere in the middle. Like, you're gonna get like a 15% reduction, maybe 17% reduction to your ADS movement speed as opposed to 9. So yeah, your ADS movement speed is gonna be a little bit slower. But once again, that's not the reason people use Peacekeepers. They use it for the handling, and that's really, I mean, I can't stress that enough. Like, players who are saying Peacekeepers are now dead, you're wrong. They're not. They're still so good. They're still going to be so good. I can't wait to actually get on a little bit later tonight and give them some testing so I can see really how much different they feel, because they're still buffing your SMGs out the wazoo. Like, you're still getting that, you know, that sprint speed increase, that 6.5% or 6.25% sprint speed increase. Still got that. You still got that FOV change that, you know, Peacekeepers used to give that plus 5 degrees to whatever your FOV is. Like, that's all still there. Plus your handling is more than likely going to be maxed out. I don't know, like, you know, people that are saying that these are dead now, I don't think they're dead. I think that they're going to be fine exactly where they are. You're still going to see them every single weekend in trials. You're still going to see people using them on the regular, because that's good. Airborne effectiveness, that was unchanged. They didn't even touch the airborne effectiveness. So, you know, my what is it, Immortal, my Adept Immortal, I can still have like 90 something aim assistance, or airborne effectiveness, sorry. I can still have 90 something airborne effectiveness with it. Like, that hasn't changed. You know, the ready and stow speed, sorry, for submachine guns, still unchanged. Like, this is not going to affect submachine guns as much as people are making it out to be. But yeah, I don't know, we're kind of rambling at this point. I want to know your thoughts on the changes to this though. Like, do you think that they're good? Do you think that they're bad? Like, are you kind of one of those people that was in the boat of thought it was going to be the end of the world, or did you kind of see through the veil like I did and say, hey, no, this isn't that big of a deal? I want to know your thoughts on that. Also, of course, tell me your thoughts on Peacekeepers. I'll say this before we go. I have always said, I don't think Peacekeepers deserve a nerf. I think that SMGs are what should be nerfed as opposed to Peacekeepers. I still think the SMGs need to be reined in. I think that, what is it? target lock SMGs are still problematic, and I still think that they need to be nerfed, but this is not going to change that usage at all. Like this is still, like, you know, this is still going to make SMGs absolutely fantastic, super strong, all that stuff. But yeah, anyways, let me know your thoughts. Of course, if you like today's video, drop a like, helps the channel out a lot. Subscribe for more daily Destiny content. Do me a favor, watch the videos you see here on the end screen, because for whatever reason, YouTube thinks you'll like them. Guys, I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye for now.